How to build a life that cannot be destroyed. Most people are one bad phone call away from complete collapse, one job loss, one health crisis, one betrayal, and everything crumbles. A 2023 American Psychological Association study found 76% of adults reported stress negatively impacting their health. People are fragile. Their finances are fragile. Their entire existence hangs by threads they cannot see. But what if chaos made you stronger instead of weaker? What if you could architect your life so that the very things destroying others actually made you more powerful? This is not motivation. This is engineering. And you are about to learn the exact blueprint. The ancient Stoics understood something that modern psychology is just now confirming. Nassim Taleb, former options trader and philosopher, calls it antifragility. Not just surviving chaos, actually gaining from it. A 2022 study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals with certain psychological and structural foundations did not just recover from adversity. They thrived because of it. Their income increased, their relationships deepened, their sense of purpose crystallized. The difference between those who break and those who become unbreakable is not luck. It is architecture. It is the deliberate construction of a life that feeds on disorder. So, let me show you exactly how to build this. Not theory, not platitudes. A strategic framework you can implement starting today. Before we dive deeper, hit like and subscribe so you never miss our videos, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Pillar 1. Financial redundancy. Here is the first truth. Money problems amplify every other problem. A 2021 study from Princeton University confirmed that financial stress literally impairs cognitive function. It reduces your IQ by the equivalent of losing an entire night of sleep. The unbreakable life begins with financial architecture that has no single point of failure. This means multiple income streams. Research from the IRS shows that the average millionaire has 7 different sources of income. Not because they are greedy, because they understand that dependence on one source is catastrophic fragility. But here's what most people miss. It is not just about earning from multiple sources. It is about building income that survives without you. Passive income, investments, systems that generate regardless of your personal circumstances. Ask yourself right now, if you could not work for 6 months, would money still flow into your life? If the answer is no, you have a vulnerability that needs immediate attention. Pillar 2. Identity independence. This is where most successful people secretly fail. They build their entire identity around one thing: their business, their title, their relationship, their physical appearance. And when that one thing is threatened, they experience complete psychological collapse. A 2023 Harvard Business Review study found that entrepreneurs who tied their self-worth entirely to their business success had 3 times higher rates of depression and anxiety when facing setbacks. 3 times higher. Their identity had a single point of failure. The unbreakable life requires what psychologists call identity diversification. You are not just an entrepreneur. You are also a father, a lifelong learner, a community member, a creator, an athlete. When one domain suffers, the others provide psychological stability. This is not about being unfocused. It is about being unshakable. The most dangerous words in personal development are, "I am my business," or "I am my career." You are far more than any single role. Build your identity to reflect that truth. Stay with me here, because the next pillar is where most people sabotage themselves completely. Pillar 3. Relationship reserves. Here is something that might surprise you. The longest-running study on human happiness, the Harvard study of adult development spanning over 80 years, found one factor more predictive of well-being than any other: relationships. But not just any relationships. Deep, reciprocal connections with people who will show up when everything falls apart. According to research from the American Sociological Review, the average American has only 2 people they can confide in about serious matters. Down from 3 in 1985. People are becoming more isolated precisely when connection matters most. The unbreakable life requires what I call relationship reserves, not hundreds of shallow connections. A small circle of people who are genuinely invested in your success and survival. These relationships require investment before you need them. You cannot build a support network in the middle of a crisis. You build it now. You nurture it consistently. You show up for others, so they will show up for you. Now, here is something important. Everything I am sharing with you comes from years of studying what actually works for high performers. If you want to go deeper and get a complete system for building wealth while creating this kind of unshakable foundation, I created the VYBO Wealth Blueprint. It is in the description below. But regardless of whether you grab that, keep watching, because the next pillars are where this gets really powerful. Pillar 4, skills that transfer. Most people build careers on skills that are industry specific. When that industry disrupts, they become obsolete overnight. A 2023 McKinsey report projected that by 2030, up to 30% of work hours in the United States could be automated. Entire job categories will disappear. The unbreakable life is built on transferable skills: communication, sales, leadership, problem solving, critical thinking. These skills compound across every industry and survive every disruption. But here is the deeper truth. The most valuable skill is the ability to learn new skills rapidly. Research from the World Economic Forum identified learning agility as the #1 predictor of career resilience. The person who can learn faster than circumstances change will never become irrelevant. So ask yourself, are you building skills that only work in one context? Or are you developing capabilities that make you valuable regardless of what happens in the world? But here is where it gets really interesting. Pillar 5, physical resilience. This might seem obvious, but most people completely ignore it until crisis hits. Your body is the vehicle that carries everything else. When it breaks down, your income suffers. Your relationships strain. Your mental clarity evaporates. A 2022 study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that regular exercise reduces the risk of depression by 26% and significantly improves stress resilience. Another study from Stanford showed that cardiovascular fitness directly correlates with cognitive performance under pressure. The unbreakable life requires treating your body as critical infrastructure, not optional, not when you have time. Essential maintenance that happens regardless of circumstances. This means non-negotiable habits: sleep, movement, nutrition. These are not luxuries for people with easy lives. They are requirements for people building lives that cannot be destroyed. Pillar 6, mental fortification. Here is where most advice fails. People tell you to think positive or stay motivated. That is not mental fortitude. That is delusion with a smile. True mental resilience comes from something different. According to research from the University of Pennsylvania Resilience Program, the most mentally tough individuals share specific cognitive habits. They challenge catastrophic thinking. They separate facts from interpretations. They maintain agency even in uncontrollable situations. A 2021 study from the Journal of Traumatic Stress found that cognitive flexibility, the ability to reframe circumstances, was the strongest predictor of post-traumatic growth. Not the severity of the trauma, the flexibility of the mind processing it. This is trainable. Meditation practices have been shown in neuroscience research to physically alter brain structure within 8 weeks. Cognitive behavioral techniques can rewire habitual thought patterns. The unbreakable mind is not born. It is built through deliberate practice. If you are getting value from this and want to go deeper with a community of people who are serious about building unshakable lives, check out our channel membership. You get exclusive content, live sessions, and access to high performers who are on the same journey. Link is in the description. And this final pillar, this is what separates the truly unbreakable from everyone else. Pillar 7. Optionality architecture. This is the most sophisticated pillar. Optionality means having choices when others have none. It means building your life so that no single decision or event can trap you. Nassim Taleb's research demonstrates that systems with optionality do not just survive randomness, they exploit it. When others are forced into bad decisions by desperation, you have alternatives. When the market crashes, you have cash reserves to buy. When one opportunity closes, 3 others are available. A 2020 study from the Journal of Financial Economics found that households with higher optionality, meaning liquid savings and multiple income sources, actually increased their net worth during economic downturns while others lost everything. Optionality requires sacrifice now for freedom later. It means keeping reserves when you could spend, maintaining skills when you could coast, building relationships when you could isolate. Every choice you make should be evaluated through this lens. Does this give me more options or fewer? Now here is what most people fail to understand. These 7 pillars are not independent. They reinforce each other. Financial stability reduces mental stress. Physical health improves cognitive performance. Strong relationships provide emotional and practical support. Transferable skills create financial options. When you build across all 7 simultaneously, something remarkable happens. You create what systems theorists call positive feedback loops. Strength in one area compounds strength in others. The whole becomes dramatically greater than the sum of its parts. But here is the critical insight. You do not need to be perfect in all 7. You need to be adequate in all 7. According to research on resilience from the American Psychological Association, it is the absence of critical vulnerabilities, not the presence of exceptional strengths, that predicts survival. One glaring weakness can destroy an otherwise strong life. The person with $10 million but no health falls apart. The person with incredible fitness but complete financial fragility collapses at the first economic shock. The goal is systematic adequacy with no catastrophic gaps. And this brings us to the part that separates those who will actually build unbreakable lives from those who will just watch this video and do nothing. Building this kind of life is not comfortable. It requires saying no to immediate pleasures for future security. It requires working on weaknesses you would rather ignore. It requires honest assessment of where you are vulnerable. A 2022 study from the University of Chicago found that only 11% of people who set significant life goals actually achieve them. The difference is not knowledge. Everyone knows what to do. The difference is execution consistency. You are going to face a choice. You can optimize for comfort now and hope nothing bad ever happens. Or you can endure strategic discomfort now and build something that storms cannot touch. The person who avoids the gym will face the doctor. The person who avoids financial discipline will face bankruptcy. The person who avoids relationship investment will face isolation. Discomfort is not optional. Only when you experience it is optional. 7 pillars. 1 unbreakable life. Financial redundancy that survives any storm. Identity independence that cannot be stripped away. Relationship reserves that show up when it matters. Transferable skills that stay valuable. Physical resilience that fuels everything. Mental fortification that transforms obstacles into opportunities. And optionality architecture that ensures you always have choices. Research shows 50 to 70% of trauma survivors report positive psychological change, not despite the difficulty, because of how they were positioned. You can be one of them. Not by accident, by architecture. Pick one pillar. Strengthen it today. The storms are coming. The only question is whether they destroy you or reveal how strong you have become. Now go build.